Welcome back to Learn SKN, and today we have the economics May-June 2021 paper 1. So we're going to do May-June 2021 paper 1 for CXC economics. But before we jump into it, you know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when Learn SKN drops another video, probably part 2 of the May-June 2021 paper 1. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. We know the formula already. Let's go. Number 1. In economics, the excess of human wants over existing resources is known as, and the answer here is scarcity. Because we know that human wants are infinite and resources are finite. And so you have what you call scarcity, right? Because things can finish. So that's B. Number 2, an economy is best described as A system of production, distribution, and consumption. That's the best definition of an economy. A system of production, distribution, and consumption. How they go about doing this would determine the type of economic system, whether it is, controlled, mixed, free market, whatever. But the whole idea is that it's a system of production, distribution, and consumption. Number 3 refers to the following diagram, which illustrates the production possibility frontier for an economy that is capable of producing bauxite and sugar in different combinations. And so we see all the combinations here. We have M, E, P, we have X, right? And so the question asks, point X on the diagram above represents, and the answer is D, an unattainable combination. So you realize point X is beyond the production possibility curve. It's beyond it. There are no combination right there. It's impossible to reach based on the given resources. So it's unattainable. Inside is being inefficient or unemployed resources. And of course, M and E are the more efficient combinations. Number 4. Where is number 4? An outward shift in the production possibility curve can be caused by and so we're saying here, if for some reason this whole thing shift outwards to meet X, shift outwards, the whole thing shift outwards, what would cause that? And the best answer would be improvement in technology, because improvement in technology would mean that production can increase and so output can increase given the same amount of resources that are available. So given the same amount of resources, if you introduce improvement in technology, you can produce more with the same, and so your production possibility curve would shift outwards. Number 5, economics is classified as a, and so the answer here is a social science. We're talking about people and their behavior and society. So we're looking at a social science, just like management and those other things. Social science. When you go to university, you're going to be in social science, that's economics, management, all those subjects, business subjects. Number 6, which of the following actions is least likely to be among a government's potential economic decisions regarding businesses? Least likely. So which one would the government least likely be involved in? And so the best answer here is A, increase in retirement benefits. All the rest are regulations, laws and regulations. There's a minimum wage law. There's regulations or rules or laws that regulate emissions. Zoning is the next legal issue. Government can tell you where to locate your business, but they cannot tell you what you should give your employees as it relates to retirement benefits. If they are old, their severance and whatever pay, you pay them. But other than that, if you want to give them a package, that's totally up to the business. Number 7 refers to the following information, which relates to the manufacturing company. So you have your total cost, 50,000, fixed cost, which is 10,000, output 100 unit. What is the average variable cost? And remember, average would be the variable cost divided by output. And so in this case, remember, total cost is a combination of fixed and variable. And so if they give us the fixed cost as 10,000 and total is 50,000, then by our calculations, the variable cost would be 40,000, right? Maths, it would be 40,000 because the 40 plus the 10 would give you the 50 for the total cost. And so to find the average variable cost, now we divide that 40 by the 100 units, and we end up with B, 400 being the variable cost. And of course, this question appeared in many papers in the past. Number 8, large firms can achieve savings in unit costs as a result of advertising and packaging. These kinds of economies of scale can be classified as, and the best answer here would be marketing economies of scale. Marketing. So as you grow, you would have to market less in a sense because you're more well known, and so that would be savings that you can get in the company as you grow. When you're small, marketing would be real expensive, advertising, and that would be expensive, so to get your name out there. But as you grow, your name become more popular, and so you might be able to get away with less in the budget in some instances. Number 9 refers to the following table, which shows unit of labor and total output. And so the answer asks us here, how many units of labor produce the highest average product of labor? Again, if you're looking at average, it has to be the output divided by the unit of labor. And so you have to go through and do all the maths. So you have to go and do your 6 divided by 372, so much do you get. You have to do your 7 divided by 455, so much you get. 8 divided by 496, so much you get. At the end of the day, the highest will be B, 7 divided by 455. That would be your answer, B. Number 10, which of the following pairs of activities in a country falls under the tertiary sector? So the tertiary sector is the one that deals with services. And so banking and tourism, I mean, if you look at the pairs, you can see that's the only odd one out. Banking and tourism, those are the services that are highlighted right there. So that's the answer for that one. Number 11, an advantage of a planned economic system is that A, consumers have a wider variety of goods. Well, the answer here is D. Again, we have seen this question before, right, in previous papers. There is usually more equitable distribution of wealth, right? So that's what they want to say. They say usually. Remember we said that is the idea of a planned economy, that everything will be distributed equally. But the reality is that's not the case, right? But that's on paper what it's supposed to be. And so D, there is usually more equitable distribution of wealth. Even though it means that everybody gonna be poor like, so be it, at least everybody equally poor. Alright, number 12. Production can be defined as the transformation of inputs into outputs. As simple as that. Inputs turned into outputs. That's production in a nutshell. Turning inputs into outputs. That's the in a nutshell definition. 13. Which of the following item is not an example of a primary product? Primary product. Of course, if you look at the 4 options, you'll see that 3 of these are alike and 1 is different. Which one is different? Furniture. Right? That's the only one that is processed or manufactured or constructed. Right? Gold is raw, banana is raw, crude oil is raw. All of them come from the extractive industry or the primary industry. But which is not an example? Furniture. That's in the secondary, where you take the timber or the wood from primary and turn it into table, chair, whatever. Right? Furniture. Number 14. The economic system where major economic decisions are made by private individuals and businesses is known as a free market economy. So when individuals are making all the economic decisions, that's a free market. Right? Private individuals and companies. Free market. Number 15. A normal supply curve for farm produce will slope upwards if farmers, and so they're trying to test us to see if we know the law of supply and demand. Well, supply in this case. And so the law of supply states that it slope upwards because as price rise, supply rise. There's a positive relationship between price and supply. And so B, if the farmers are willing to produce more as price increases. So that's B, that's a normal supply curve. Normal supply, law of supply. Number 16. Which of the following market supply curves shows that the price elasticity of supply is unitary? And so we have A, B, C, D. And the best answer here is C. And the way to tell that is because, of course, it starts from the origin. Right? Once it starts from the origin, that tells us it's unitary. All the rest really start from some other than the origin. Okay, so that's number 16. Number 17 refers to the following diagram, which shows the price of good X and the quantity of good X demanded. So we're looking at a market in equilibrium right here. The movement of the demand curve, good X from D to D1, results from an increase in the, and so we're looking at the shift right here. So it started at D, then it shifted to D1. So what would cause a shift? And we know the determinants of demand from our studies. And so from the list here, the best answer would be income. Income is a determinant of demand. Income can cause a shift. If income increase, your demand would shift to the right, it increases. Income decrease, your demand shift to the left, decreases. So the answer is B, income of the consumers. Number 18, look like a little spider web here. But let's see what they say here. Refers to the following diagram, which shows the price of an item and the quantity demanded and supplied before and after the item is subsidized. S is the supply curve before a subsidy is granted. So we have S right here, before the subsidy is granted. As a result of granting of the subsidy, it is expected that B, supply will increase. Because remember, the whole idea of a subsidy is to reduce the production costs. And if the production cost reduces, that would mean that supply should increase. Supply should increase, right? Because the subsidy acts as a way of reducing the production costs. And so that means now I can supply more at a cheaper rate. And so that's why the answer is B. Number 19, a government reduces tax on carrots. This causes the price of carrots to fall by 50%. Quantity demanded then raises by 50%. The price elasticity of demand of carrots in this case is, and the answer is C, 1. Because if you look at the change, the percentage changes, it's 50 and 50. If we divide it by 1 to find elasticity, then the answer would be 1. And so we have C1, right? That's the only way the maths makes sense. 50 divided by 50, you get the 1. And so we get C for that one. 20 refers to the following table, which shows the price of a product, the quantity demanded, and the quantity supplied. So we're looking at a market in equilibrium, but from a schedule, right? So here we go. At which of the following prices are there shortages in the market? And of course, a shortage means that demand is lower than supply. So supply outstripping demand in this case. Supply outstrip demand, right? And so, demand outstrips supply. And so we have less supply, more demand, and the only way that matches is at $2, you see, demand is 29, but supply is only 8. At $4, demand is 16, and supply is only 12. And so we have shortages in these markets. The others would be a surplus. You have equilibrium at $6, and you have a surplus at $8 and $10. Number 21. Suppliers of manufactured goods respond faster to price changes than suppliers of agricultural goods, mainly because, so suppliers of manufactured goods respond faster to price changes than suppliers of agricultural goods, mainly because, and of course the main reason is that agricultural goods take longer to produce, right? They take longer to produce because after all, you have a whole season, and within that season, prices can fluctuate. Go up, go down, whichever, left, right. And so the farmers would take a while longer to actually respond to the various price changes. I mean, a manufacturer could just respond to price in the next batch. They manufacture in the next batch, one term, price gone up. right? You have different kind of inventory system, FIFO, life for those things, and next turn you just change the price one time. But for agriculture produce, you have to wait until they actually plant, harvest, and take them to market. Sometimes you can lock in a price early, a contractual price, things like that, but that's not always the norm. So yeah, that's why it would be B. 22. An increase in the price of flour is most likely to be followed by an immediate, and the best answer here is fall in the quantity demanded for flour. So again, we're looking at a lot of supply and demand here. If the price go up, demand goes down. So the price go up, demand goes down. It's almost automatic when you're drawing your the supply and demand graphs. As soon as you put the price up, come across, one time you can see that the demand will fall, right? So it's almost automatic. You just love supply and demand right there, playing out. Number 23, the price elasticity of supply refers to the responsiveness of quantity supplied to a change in, and is written in the first part of the answer, price. So it then says A, price. Had it been income, it would have been income elasticity. Had it been demand, it would have been price elasticity of demand. So we're looking at supply, and so it will be price. The supply curve shifts to the left if, so we're shifting to the left here, and the answer is B, cost of production rises. So if the cost of production goes up, that means you'll have to supply less given the same amount of resources. So what could have cost you, maybe you could have produced 10 tons at a certain price. If the price goes up, you can now only provide maybe 7 tons, right? So if the cost of production go up, your supply will fall. That's just how that works. Number 25. Which of the following market structures has the greatest control over setting prices? And of course, it's the monopoly. The monopoly ain't got no competition. They are the only seller. The product is unique. There's no perfect information, and so they are the ones who can control their price. Luckily, the government might step in and say, okay, don't put it too high, or else you might have to crack down. But for the most part, the monopoly has the greatest control over their prices. 26. Which of the following features is a characteristic of a monopoly? As I outlined just now, B, many buyers and one seller. The monopoly, as the name suggests, mono, just one seller, one producer, but of course they have many buyers. 27. Which of the following is usually a consequence of retrenchment in a country? So retrenchment is where persons get laid off, things are a little slow, might have a recession, and so people have to be laid off. We experienced that with COVID in recent times, where persons have to get laid off from factory and from the hotel industry, etc. And so the answer is C, a fall in the standard of living, because you realize that persons are no longer working, and so their income has cut, and so therefore you will have a fall in the standard of living. Can't afford as much as you used to before. 28 refers to the following information about a type of market structure. Mayakana Limited is selling goods in competition with a few other companies in country X. All the firms know each other's prices. Before Christmas, Mayakana Limited raises the price of its goods, hoping to make higher profit. None of the other competing firms for this product raised their prices. After Christmas, Mayanka Limited lowered the price of the same goods with hope of boosting its sale. All the other competing firms reduced the price of the same good by the same margin. So we realize that we got some little price war going on here. So what market structure is this? So the best answer here would be oligopoly. We have a few firms in the market, and sometimes when the firms are not really talking to each other, they might have different ideas as it relates to prices and output, and so it might trigger a pricing war. Now, the most did not respond to the increase in price because they know that, the one firm kept the price, so what? The rest gonna maintain the price, make the profit. But when you lower the price now, what I would say is that everybody gonna be driven to that company, but we can't have that. So we lower the price to match that company, so all of us could be on the same level. When they kept the price, nobody taking them on because we're cheaper still, don't come to us. When they lower the price, they're trying to mash us up. undercutters, so we lower prices to compete, and so that we have the oligopoly right there. That could be the start of a nice little price war. Alright, 29. A pure public good can be described as B, zero priced. We have seen that already, zero priced. Number 30. According to the economic theory, second-hand cigarette smoke is an example of a D, negative externality. Negative externality. Alright, so that's part 1 of the May-June 2021 Econ Paper 1 for CSEC. That's part 1. So we're going to end there for now. And when we come back, we're going to be looking at 31 to 60. That's part 2. So make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when Learn SKN drops part 2 for the May-June 2021 Econ Paper 1. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.